Today, I'd like to talk to you about RSI. Now, RSI stands for Repetitive Strain Injury, and it's something that probably applies to almost all of you, to be perfectly honest. So if you do a job where you're typing a lot on a computer, or even if you spend a lot of time messing around on a smartphone or a tablet, it's easy to get RSI. Other jobs, might be someone who plays a piano, might be someone who plays a guitar, might be a drummer. It could be a carpenter. There are so many jobs that you can do where you have to use your hands a lot, and any repetitive movements can strain your muscle, or is it your muscle or some other part of your body? I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. But anyway, in doing so, it causes you to have an injury. And I have such an injury. I have RSI at this point in time. And I've had it for a while now. And I am yet to go to the doctors with it. Because as far as I know, the best cure for RSI is to simply stop doing what it is that's causing you to have RSI in the first place. So stop doing that repetitive movement that's causing the strain in the first place. Now, for me, the problem is caused by using a keyboard too much and using a mouse too much. And I know exactly why this started happening. It's because if you recall, I don't know how many episodes ago it was now, but I was telling you that I'd purchased this very cheap laptop and put this other operating system on it called Linux, and I was very happy with how much you could do on it given how cheap it was. So the cost performance I thought was very good, and it's a really little lightweight thing, and because of this I was able to just throw it in my rucksack and take it places or just carry it somewhere, and it meant that I was using the computer a lot more often. So maybe I'd go to a park, and it's a cheap laptop, so I wasn't too bothered about getting it damaged or maybe leaving it somewhere by mistake. So I was going to the park and using it, and I don't know, using it in many places. And I thought that was great. I thought, isn't this great? I can carry this laptop everywhere. I can use it in more places. And I was starting to work on my own projects again, finding programming fun again. And I enjoyed it until I realized that I was doing too much of it, and I started to feel my hands hurting. And I think, it's probably for two reasons. One, it's a laptop, and when you're using a laptop, unless you're using an external keyboard and an external mouse, so you're not using the keyboard that's attached to the laptop, and you're not using the trackpad on the laptop, and you've got your monitor up nice and high. So unless you're doing that, you've got a very bad posture, and the keyboard isn't great for your hands, and the trackpad isn't great for your fingers, and so on and so on. So I was doing a lot more computer use, but bad computer use as well. And I think that's the real thing that's triggered it. I was using this keyboard. It's not a great keyboard to type on for a long time. The trackpad really isn't great to use for a long time. And I caused myself an injury. And the thing with RSI is, I think if you can notice it early on, you can take some preventative measures. You can think, okay, I'm going to try doing that less, or I'm going to adjust it. So, for example, maybe you can buy a better keyboard. Maybe you can buy a better mouse, and perhaps that's enough to sort of make it go away. But if you don't do that, if you ignore it more and more and more, it gets to this point where it's pretty bad, and then getting back to the okay bit is a lot harder. So it's sort of like climbing up a hill or something, and it's very, very, very steep. Getting up to the top of the hill is very steep. You can get up there very quickly, but then getting back down, it's a very shallow, not shallow, what's the word for it? Not steep hill. So coming back down takes a long time. And it's sort of like that, or at least that's how I experience it. And I have had it in the past. and I was able to like change my behavior and maybe use the computer less, or get a different keyboard or something. And I was able to push it away, and it went away, and I didn't think about it again for years. But it's come back because I was, like I said, using this computer more often, and the laptop, very bad sort of computer use. So when I noticed it was coming back, although I think maybe I acted a bit too late, I changed my keyboard. I got it sort of looks more like an older keyboard used to, if you can recall what older keyboards used to look like. Like modern keyboards are very slim and very flat, but old keyboards used to be very like thick and very tall, the keys were. But this is kinder on your fingers, or at least it feels kinder to me. So that was the first change I made, and it helped. I didn't have any problem typing after that. The sort of pain went away, and it was okay typing, as long as I, tried to cut down my use as much as possible. But I had a big problem with the mouse still. So I tried using the mouse in my left hand, and then that was okay, and I could rest my right hand. Then the problem came in my left hand, so I switched back to the right and kept doing that for a while, and I thought, it's not working. I need to find something else. So I moved from a mouse to like a trackball. And if you don't know what one of those is, it's a mouse that you don't move around the table. It just sits there in one position, and it's got this big ball on the top, and you move the ball. And I've tried one that you operate with your thumb, so you move the mouse cursor with your thumb. I've tried another where you move the mouse cursor with your fingertips instead. And then I've tried another mouse where it's sort of like a vertical shape. And I don't know how to explain that other than it's a vertical mouse. So I've got this collection of mice now. I have about 4 mice. Is it just 4 or is there a 5th? I can't remember. I think I've got 4 mice, different types of mice. And I've been experimenting with them to see if any of those like relieve the pain, like take away the repetitive movement enough, or maybe use different muscles than the ones I was using before, and then that will let me recover. I mean, the best thing to do would just be to stop using the computer, and then I could recover completely naturally. But I'm a programmer, and so if I don't use the computer, I can't do my job. So that's not great. I mean, if it gets to the point when if it gets really bad, I suppose I should have to go to the doctor, and maybe they give me some kind of note saying you can't work for these however many days, and maybe you get some special exercises or something to do, like some kind of rehabilitation type thing. I don't know. I've never had to go before, but it's been getting a bit painful, to be perfectly honest. So I thought I'm going to have to do something about this. So I'd already bought this really nice, very expensive, I must say, keyboard. And in the end, I've had to replace that keyboard with another keyboard, even though the keyboard was perfectly fine, just because I wanted this keyboard that had this I don't know how to describe this. It's a mouse that's like inside the keyboard. If you've ever seen an old laptop, like an old business type laptop, sometimes they have in between the G and the H and the B keys, like a little, almost like a joystick. That's what it's like. And you can move this joystick and it moves the mouse cursor. And this is really good, I think, because I'm just using one finger to move the mouse. So I don't have to I'm not using my whole arm. I'm not using all, it's like my fingertips to move left and right. It's just very, 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 very small amount of movement, and I can move the mouse cursor. So far, I've only been using it for a day or two. It's amazing. All the pain's gone. I can use it comfortably. So I think I've solved the issue now. Obviously, I have to be careful, and I still have to try and rest as much as possible. So if I'm not working, I'm trying not to use the computer at all. I still have to, I'm recording a podcast now, have to use the computer. If I do transcripts, have to use the computer, have to do some typing. So, I'm just trying to cut down as much as possible that I can. Actually, there's some, I'm sure that I haven't checked my emails for a long time. I'm pretty sure I've got some that I'm going to need to reply to that I have been putting off because I've been trying to cut down on the, computer usage. Apologies for that. But so far, so good. And I will say this new keyboard is really nice to type on, actually. In fact, would you like to hear it? First, I'll let you know, I'll show you what my old keyboard used to sound like. And here is an example of what my new keyboard sounds like. Now, maybe you think I'm weird, and perhaps I am, but I really like the way that certain keyboards sounds. And I like the way these two keyboards sound. But the newest one is really, really quiet. And I'm working in an office. Well, it's a spare room that I use as my office, and I'm alone all day, so there's no other noise but this keyboard sound. So if I have like something that's a bit loud, I can find it a bit annoying. So yes, the sound can be quite important to me. I can find it quite relaxing, like if I'm typing away and you can just hear this like gentle like tapping sound. It's quite nice. But yeah, I am a bit of a sort of like keyboard geek, I suppose. In the same way that like for a guitarist, like the choice of guitar is very important. Well, I'm a programmer, and for me, like my choice of keyboard is very important. It's the tool that I use to do my job, isn't it? So this keyboard was probably one of the more expensive ones you can buy. It cost £230, but do not tell my wife. But it's something I use every single day. Well, maybe not the weekends, but otherwise every single day, and I'm using it for like about 8 hours a day, solid. So it really does get some use. I do get some mileage out of it, which is just a phrase that means I get a lot of use out of it. I get a lot of mileage out of it. So that's all for this podcast. Just in case you are interested, the particular keyboard I'm using is a Happy Hacking Keyboard Studio, and my previous keyboard was a Happy Hacking Professional Hybrid Type S. What a long name that is. They're both rather expensive, but they're both very well made. Both of them are made in Japan, and I've been using this brand of keyboard for a long time now. It must be probably over 15 years. And I left I've got another one, so I've got 3 now. I've got another one that I left in England and I didn't bring to Japan because I thought, when I get to Japan, I'll buy another one, a replacement in Japan, because they're actually cheaper to buy over here than they are to buy in the UK. And for some reason, I didn't want to. I didn't buy one. I thought, no, I'll try something else. Well, the reason is because they're so expensive. But I thought, I'll try something else. I'll try a cheaper one, and it wasn't as good in the end. So probably should have just bought this one in the first place, and then perhaps I wouldn't have had the problems with my hands. The RSI might not have been as bad, but the real cause of that was, like I said, using this laptop too much. And of course, you also get RSI if you use your phone too much. So if you do feel some pain or discomfort when you're using your phone, swap the hand you're using it with, stop it, or just take a break from it, and just be careful, because it can turn into a bit of a problem, especially if you find that you have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You will have to end up going to the doctors, and I might still yet. It's early days, so I've got to be careful. I've got to see how my recovery goes. But this new keyboard, with its mouse, inbuilt sort of track point type mouse, seems to be working very well for me. So I'm hoping to be able to reply to some lovely emails and comments that I have got recently. So until next time, I hope you have a lovely day, and bye-bye.